Coming up on Grady Newsource. Tonight, we take a look at the Public Service Commission ballot and how your vote affects what you pay to keep the lights on.
We can rant and we can rave and we can, turn off our, phones or whatever it is. But voting is the way to actually make a difference.
For many people, custom pottery is just a hobby, but one organization in Athens is turning clay into support for community members with disabilities. Find out how. Is Georgia on track for seeing snow this season?
The way it affects weather in Georgia is we typically have warmer and drier winter times.
We'll tell you what the recent studies show. All that tonight and more coming up on Grady Newsource.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication, this is Grady Newsource.
Welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Rebecca Schillinger. Early voting is underway for the November 4th election. For the first time in 5 years, seats on the Public Service Commission are back on the ballot. Grady Newsource reporter Isabel Farina tells us about a workshop in Athens that explains what that means.
The Public Service Commission regulates investor-owned utilities, which here in Georgia is Georgia Power. Since we can't choose what power company we use, Georgia Power is a monopoly. To keep it in check, we need an elected body, and that is the Public Service Commission. Executive Director of Southern Sustainability Institute, Laura Iyer, hosted a workshop at the First AME Church in Athens to answer these questions. Iyer says voters should care because this group decides rates for electricity and gas, shapes where our energy comes from, and represents public interest.
And this is long term. This is things where the younger generation is going to see way into the future. So certainly, I feel like the younger generation should really be invested in this because once a power plant is built, it's there for a very, very long time.
Athens resident Barry Allen attended the workshop to learn more about what is on the ballot.
I wanted to try and see if there's always something else you can learn about, who's involved and ways to make a difference.
For Allen, the workshop was a success.
I keep forgetting, the high-profile nature of the PSC is power. So whether it's the nuclear power plants at Vogel, or whether it's solar image things, or whether it's coal as opposed to some other things. But I keep forgetting that the PSC actually regulates other things as well.
This knowledge is especially important because voting is how the public's voice gets heard.
We can rant and we can rave and we can, turn off our, phones or whatever it is. But voting is the way to actually make a difference.
Fitz Johnson and Tim Echols are the incumbent Republican candidates running for re-election. Both were appointed by Governor Brian Kemp. Peter Hubbard and Alicia Johnson are the Democratic candidates running for the first time. Early voting is now open until October 31st, or on Election Day on November 4th. To get your voice heard, you have to get to the polls. For Grady Newsource, I'm Isabel Farina.
In Jackson County, beside public commissioners, voters are also casting ballots on T-Splost. But what exactly is T-Splost and why is it important? Grady Newsource reporter Derek Oliveras has the answer. Hi, Derek. What is T-Splost?
Transportation Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax. A little bit wordy, but essentially it's a 1% sales tax used to fund transportation projects. T-Splost can typically last from 5 to 6 years, according to Dr. Trey Hood, a professor of political science at the University of Georgia.
The idea is that you basically increase the sales tax by a penny in that area, and that money specifically goes to fund a certain set of projects, like in this case, a set of transportation projects. Now, it can't go to maintenance or those kinds of things. So these are sort of upgrades or new projects, and it goes before the voters.
Hood says that T-Splost typically passed, but limits do exist. If a county already has an existing SPLOST, which stands for Special Purpose Local Option Sales Tax, voters may be reluctant to add even more sales taxes on top of that. Additionally, counties with large conservative populations are less likely to take on the tax increase.
T-Splost or just SPLOST in general have funded a lot of infrastructure projects, public safety, buying fire trucks, all kinds of stuff. So there's been a positive a benefit, but again there are limits at some point to how much voters are going to sort of take in terms of a tax increase.
Interesting to hear the reasons why T-SPLOST didn't pass. Has Jackson County tried to implement a T-SPLOST in the past?
Yes, they have, Becca. They tried just last year during the presidential election last November. Jackson County Assistant Manager Gina Roy says that there was a huge turnout, but the T-SPLOST ended up failing. Even though it failed, Roy says that the vote was close.
So what do we know about the proposed T-SPLOST in Jackson County?
The current proposed T-SPLOST in Jackson County is expected to generate an estimated $200 million over 6 years. And as for specific projects, they include $20 million towards a new interchange on I-85 and Highway 60, as well as another $20 million that'll go towards widening Highway 124 in West Jackson.
Thanks, Derek. Early voting in Jackson ends at 5 p.m. on October 31st. The man accused of threatening to shoot up Atlanta Airport is facing several federal charges, including attempted violence and possession of a firearm as a convicted felon. Authorities were initially alerted after the suspect allegedly threatened to shoot up the airport during a FaceTime call. After his arrest, authorities discovered an AR-15 style gun and 26 rounds of ammunition in his car. The FBI investigation continues. The government is in its third week of the shutdown, and it's not just impacting federal employees. Grady Newsource reporter Abby Halpin joins us live in studio for more. Abby, who else is affected by the shutdown?
Becca, this shutdown is also affecting passengers at airports. Usually flights are delayed because of weather or mechanical issues, but the government shutdown is forcing delays because of another reason: staff shortages, whether it be air traffic controllers or TSA employees, who are considered to be essential workers by the Department of Homeland Security, so they're expected to continue to work as without a full paycheck while the government is shut down.
How much of an impact are the staff shortages having on security lines and flight timing?
Becca, when I checked the MyTSA app this afternoon, I got a message that said that it may not be actively monitored due to a lapse in funding. So instead, I called the airport and they said the wait time was around 21 minutes, which was about 7 minutes more than the average wait time that I called at. Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy said that 5% of delays are usually attributed to staffing historically, but in the first week of the shutdown, that number skyrocketed to 53%. So far today, as of about 10 minutes ago, there have been 120 flights delayed at Hartsfield-Jackson, and that number only continues to climb.
So what can travelers do to avoid missing a flight and running through the airport home alone style?
The first thing that TSA suggests is to download the MyTSA app, which allows users to choose their airport and see wait times that are updated live. Travelers should also make sure to check ATL.com, the official website of the Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, which has a page specifically for security wait times. ATL.com also recommends that you leave at least 2 hours early to the airport and be ready at the front of security lines. Many take a little bit longer to take their shoes off or get their laptops out of their bags, and that can hold up lines.
Thank you, Abby. And Governor Kemp and First Lady Marty Kemp are in South Korea leading an international economic development mission, celebrating 40 years of relations between Atlanta and Seoul. This is the third time Governor Kemp has visited South Korea since being elected in 2019. Coming up after the break, a local nonprofit is turning art into action, how Lovecraft Athens is using pottery to support their mission.
My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far. A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
like I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Your home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
If you are heading to the Athens Farmers Market tonight, keep an eye out for more than just fresh produce. Crew members at Lovecraft Athens are tabling till 8 p.m. today, selling custom pottery pieces to support their mission. Grady Newsource reporter Sydney Palmer shows us how.
Crafts are a fun hobby.
That's kind of how Lovecraft started. We were just doing pottery, and through a lot of extensive research, our executive director and founder, Susan, she decided that pottery is a wonderful medium to teach workforce skills.
But for crew members at Lovecraft Athens who are adults with developmental disabilities, it means so much more.
It kind of teaches repetitiveness. It teaches following directions like to a T to be able to have a piece from start to finish.
Crew members create custom pieces that are sold at the farmers market every month. And the goal? Raise money for the crew to attend programming at Lovecraft.
That is a great way for them to fund their own scholarships to be able to come to Lovecraft, is to sell their own work at markets.
And awareness of their mission.
4 times out of 5, people would be like, I've never heard of Lovecraft before. And I mean, they've been living in Athens for 10 years. They've been living in Athens for 5 years. They've lived in Athens their whole life and they've never heard of us. So it's been a really good opportunity for people to learn about our mission.
And with funding uncertainties,
this year it's been especially difficult. We moved into this building and we had to, fundraise, and then we needed a wheelchair lift, which our wheelchair lift is finally running. And that took a big chunk out of just our regular fundraising.
Pottery sales are very important, but Emma says the money isn't the most valuable thing crew members gain.
Just like being so proud of them as well, that you're finally and rightfully being given the same opportunities as the people around you that may not look like you and may not, have the same opportunities as you, but you should.
From Grady Newsource, I'm Sydney Palmer.
Athens will soon unveil an advanced fire truck with high-angle rescues, vehicle extraction, and more equipment to make emergency response stronger. The unveiling is this Friday, making it one of the most capable fire trucks in Northeast Georgia. And iServe Ministries is working towards tackling food insecurity in Northeast Georgia. Reporter Michaela Maxwell tells us about the impact this nonprofit is hoping to make.
This Saturday, iServe Ministries will feed 400 families at Hillsman Middle School.
As inflation, as food prices continue to increase, we know our neighbors, especially our seniors that are on fixed incomes, purchasing and acquiring healthy food is hard. And so our goal is to meet them where they're at.
Every month, founder Jeff Grant and his team give people 3 opportunities to pick up meals in Jackson and Athens-Clarke County. iServe and its partners provide not only food and services, but also ensure their neighbors feel seen.
So we push buggies full of food to their cars so we can engage in conversation with them. So they're more than just a number. They're more than just an entity. They're actually a very vital part of our community.
Around 60 or 70 volunteers arrive about an hour before the event starts, and from then on,
and it's like organized chaos. So we start getting things set up. We got pallets set up along the table. We got more pallets set up down there with the fresh foods and frozen foods and veggies and all that good stuff.
iServe Ministries continues to make an impact, meeting people where they are and bringing the community together through service and food.
Michaela joins us in the studio to offer a little more insight on iServe's objective. So Michaela, iServe is feeding 400 families this weekend. Is that enough to cover the needs of the people in this county?
That's a great question, Becca. So right now in Athens-Clarke County, more than 25,000 people fall below the food insecurity rate. And in Jackson County, that number is over 8,000. So through their 3 monthly mobile pantry giveaways, they are able to feed over 1,200 families and give them enough meals to last them about 10 to 12 days. So as you can see, there is still a very large need in these areas.
Thank you, Michaela, for that information. And U.S. Customs and Border officials intercepted 2 smuggling attempts, seizing over 160 pounds of ketamine at the Hartsville-Jackson Atlanta Airport. Ketamine is lawfully used in veterinary medicine, but can be abused for dissociated and hallucinogenic effects. And after the break, find out if Georgia will see snow this winter.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
Finally found a place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch. Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Good evening, I'm Sophia Stafford with your weather forecast. Today you may have noticed it's a little warm with 70, but it is going to cool down to 43 as it gets later in the day, and this trend will continue for the rest of the week, except for tomorrow. It will get all the way up to 75, and then near the end of the week, it'll finally cool off once we get to Sunday with a high finally below 70 at 66. And while this does sound like beautiful weather, John Knox, who researches weather and climate, warns against getting too excited.
Maybe don't say, what a beautiful day. Embrace the clouds now and then. Call for a little bit of rain, right? Pray for rain once in a while, because as my wife, who's a climatologist, says, drought is just a whole lot of nice days strung together.
And this is not great news for the 7 million Georgians experiencing drought right now. You'll see that the whole state is expecting warmer than usual temperatures as we go into October, November, and December.
The ocean temperatures way far away in equatorial Pacific near Peru are actually colder than normal. And that seems like it's a long way away, but it actually affects global weather. And the way it affects weather in Georgia is we typically have warmer and drier wintertime.
And if we take a look at the precipitation forecast, you'll see that Georgia is going to most likely have a drier than usual winter. And Knox says this dryness isn't great for the drought, though it isn't out of the ordinary. And if we take into account the dryness and the warmth this winter, and looking at predictions for the holiday season, we can answer the question, will it snow? And for everyone dreaming of a white Christmas, you might be disappointed. Knox says these drier and warmer conditions mean that we probably won't see snow in October, November, or December, though there is still some chance for precipitation.
One of the wild cards is the tropics, because you can have a very dry situation, but if you have a tropical storm or a hurricane come over you, you can break a drought pretty quick. And sometimes that's exactly what happens in the fall.
That's all I have tonight for you for weather. When we come back, a look at the driving factor behind Georgia Volleyball's recent win streak.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding, Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. My name is Zach, and here's what's going on in the world of sports. The 2025 World Series matchup is set. The National League winning Los Angeles Dodgers will take on the American League champion Toronto Blue Jays. The Dodgers, behind superstar Shohei Ohtani and an incredible pitching rotation, are seeking to become the first repeat champion since 1999. The Blue Jays, MLB's only Canadian team, are making their first appearance since their last win in 1993, and hope their explosive offense led by Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can overwhelm the defending champions. Game 1 is Friday in Toronto at 8 p.m. The Atlanta Hawks open their season tonight at home against the Toronto Raptors. The Hawks are looking to make the playoffs for the first time since 2023. Alongside star point guard Trae Young, who led the NBA in assists last season, the Hawks will feature some new additions like center Kristaps Porzingis and rookie Asa Newell from UGA. Finally, the Georgia women's volleyball team is on a 5-game SEC winning streak, propelled by a strong defense that ranks second in the nation in blocks per set. And I spoke to Kendall Kemp, who just won SEC Defensive Player of the Week for the second straight time, about her influence on the team.
Yeah, I'm just really trying to step into my leadership role, taking some time just to get my game going a little bit. Now that that is behind me, I'm taking a step up with leadership, but I'm really just trying to be a familiar face that my teammates can go to.
The team will next play Vanderbilt on Friday, a good opportunity for a win given Vanderbilt is second to last in the conference. Coming up after the break, what Oconee County is doing to encourage their youth to read.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She carried 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
In Barrow County, officers were dispatched to a call about a suicidal runaway juvenile. The juvenile ran into the woods away from home. Barrow County Deputy Martinelli deployed K-9 Bowie into the last area that the juvenile was seen. After picking up the scent, Bowie found the missing juvenile. And more than half of third grade students cannot read proficiently in the state of Georgia, according to a 2023 study. In Oconee County, libraries are doing more to improve childhood literacy. Grady Newsource reporter Lauren Coughlin tells us about their weekly story times.
The main goal is to encourage kids to want to read books. That's always the main goal of, I think, just librarians in general, but it's especially important for kids to have that love of reading early so that they carry it with them through the rest of their lives.
I'm standing here outside the Oconee County Public Library, where you can not only rent out books, but you can also come to do story times weekly on Wednesdays. Harley hosts weekly story times at the Oconee County Library.
With my story times, I always make sure to put out books that are kind of related to the theme. So this week it was vampires, and so just having books about vampires and bats, having that available to them at story times is always important.
Kathy Rising came to the library as a kid and now brings her grandson.
I think it's great for him. He loves to read, you know, but shh. He loves books, but to him, he's always read to right before a nap or bedtime.
Adults reading to children have positive impacts in children's language and literacy development, according to the National Library of Medicine.
I think it's great for him to come here and sit with a group, if he'll sit, and learn to sit and learn, you know, the little songs, the signing, all of that. And it's just this love for reading and new adventures, right? You have a new adventure every time you open a book.
I'm Lauren Coughlin with Grady Newsource.
The 17th annual Wild Rumpus Halloween celebration is this Saturday in downtown Athens. There will be costumes, live music, and food. The event is free to attend. This is a fundraiser event for Farm RX to further their mission, Food is Medicine, to underserved communities and families in Athens. And that's all for Grady Newsource. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
You know, a lot of people say, when you're going somewhere, you don't want to look back. But I beg to differ. For her to see her father celebrate his graduation, it's the best feeling in the world. I can't lie and say it was easy. But sometimes you just have to stop everything and take it in. I looked at everything in a different light. And I realized it started with me going back and getting my high school diploma.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago, in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a fourth ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
There is a road laid out for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Leading down to the river. I am blind, but I need not see.
What do you think?
I know this road is there for me. If I'm really free, take me down to the river and walk.
Are we live? Oh. All right, we are live on air with Mira. Mira, this brings back memories. I have missed it. Does. Thank you so much for doing this. I just have a few words of introduction, just to say just a few words about you. Mira Erdozain, my former boss and mentor, is joining us now from the Atlanta newsroom at Techwood Avenue of CNN International. You know that CNN International serves CNN's international audience, while CNN USA is what you watch right here. So Mira is the Senior Vice President of Programming at CNN International, which means overseeing the entire coverage, breaking news, events, editorial strategy, everything for CNN's global coverage. It's a very, very important job. I don't know how she does it, but she does it. She also works very closely with CNN USA and digital. Under her leadership, CNNI has won numerous awards, including awards for the coverage of the storming of the Hong Kong legislature, the murder of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, also the Europe investigation into the rise of anti-Semitism in Europe, lots of coverage, award-winning coverage in Iraq and Syria, and I can go on and on. She joined CNN in 2001 in the London bureau. She was a writer, and she rose quickly through the ranks, became a supervising producer, and then came to Atlanta in 2012 when we met. You were at that point executive producer of CNN's global business coverage. And then she rose in the ranks to lead CNNI, and that's where we find her today. And we are very, very honored, and I'm very happy to see her again. And she watched our show, and she has a few thoughts about how we did, what we did well, what we need to work on. And we can't wait to hear from you, Mira.
No, it's great to be here, and thank you for having me. And I thought it was great, really good show. I think you covered a lot of ground, which was very impressive. And I don't know, really, so how do you want to do this? Do you want me just to kind of go through like my thoughts as we kind of watched it? Would that be the best way to do it? But I'd love for people to kind of jump in maybe throughout each point.
If you remember their names, just
yeah,
talk about...
I hope I remember most people's names, so you might have to jump in and help me if I missed it.
Yeah, so just go ahead and tell us your thoughts on somebody.
Just kicking off from the top, I thought it was a really nice open. You had a kind of lot of pace there, lots of different sound that kind of really teed up sort of where you were going to take the show. Rebecca, I think you did a really nice job presenting. I think one thing I would say, and I'd say this to kind of everybody, is like try to get off script a little bit more. I think you give a lot of meat and information, and I come away with a lot of knowledge and understanding. But I think because you're trying very hard to do all of that, you're kind of sometimes a bit tethered by it, and it doesn't feel quite as natural as I think it would do if you kind of came off script a bit. Rebecca, this is not just directed at you. I think it's like to everybody, and just kind of try and sort of vocalize what it is you want to say rather than what you think you should say. That was one kind of thing, and I think Rebecca, you did a really nice job. I could feel you sort of wanting to move your hands, which you should do. Like, I'm trying to think. I need to think a bit more about something that could help you do that. I mean, sometimes I say to people, like, put a pen in your hand, and like, if you want to wave it around, that's fine, because like anything that just frees you from this position of feeling like you've got to kind of be an anchor, like you just wave your hands around, laugh, you know, be off the cuff, that's fine. And I think even if it doesn't make for a perfect show next time, if you try that, you'll kind of push the boundaries and it'll become a bit more engaging, I think. but you're very warm. Slow down your pace a little. I'd say everybody did this a little bit. It was just a bit too fast. Clearly just trying to get through a lot. I think sometimes you can lose a few words, take a beat, and that might have a bit more impact across the board. So anybody want to jump in off the back of that? If not, I'll move on to the next piece.
So Becca, do you want to say something, or do you want to give her a mic? Yeah, because then Mira can hear her when she has a mic.
Thank you for the tips.
No problem. It's hard. I mean, look, I could never do it. Trust me, I tried. I was awful. But it is that, I've got one of our anchors who always sits like this, and it's just, you didn't do that, by the way, so that was great. But, maybe watch yourself back and think, okay, what was my crutch? And I think maybe for you, it was just like your hands on the desk. So just force yourself to do something that frees yourself from that situation.
Yeah, I think the pen, that was the way I freed myself. I always had that pen in my hand, so that's a good idea.
Well, I think it gets easier as the show goes on, too. I get more lax in my spot. Then at the beginning, I felt like I was like...
Yeah, no, I could see it. At the end, it kind of, as you got through the show, it definitely kind of loosened up a lot more. But by the way, it was not like, I didn't feel like this was a major issue, but just things to kind of build on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so the next piece, power plant ballot, correct?
The ballot for the Public Service Commissioner?
That's right, yeah. So I think this story and the sales tax story were tough stories to tell. They were pretty dense. I mean, it wasn't a criticism of how you told them. They were hard ones to tackle. Like, how are you really going to get people kind of into that? I think with the first one, I would have done a bit more maybe with the room and the people who were there. Like, Barry was a great character, and it was good that you kind of ran a couple of sound bites from him. But I think I probably would have rethink that piece and just get in the room with them and just feel it, experience it, have more people tell the story, kind of be in, maybe kind of, it was Isabel was the reporter, is that right, Maritza?
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, so I think just being there, because I think it just felt a little bit like we were trying to tell a story that was really quite hard to tell, but actually if you put yourself in there, in the room with them a bit more, then that would have made it a bit easier for you to tell the story, and I think easier for people to kind of receive it, because I sort of came away sort of feeling like it was just hard to get my head around, because it was a difficult story to tell. I think also, again, slow down a bit with the tracking. I think you can punch it out a little bit more in the tracking, but the pacing, again, was it was the combination of the pacing was a little bit fast, and then maybe a different approach to telling that story might have helped.
So Izzy, do you want to, Izzy will talk to you.
Hi, thank you for all of the tips. And I did actually sit in on the workshop and I listened to the PowerPoint and stuff like that. But when I started asking people for interviews, they didn't want to participate.
Just Barry.
4 people that said no, and then Laura actually forced Barry to do it. So that was a struggle, okay. But I was very lucky that he had colorful shots and stuff like that. So.
Well, you did really well. You had one character, and you made the most of it with him. I think it was a hard story to tell, and if that was your one element that you had to play with, it was a good, strong element. I might have maybe tightened up the piece and made it a bit shorter. If you only have one character and one mechanism to tell the story, maybe just keep it shorter. You've got what you've got, and you don't want to stretch that out.
Okay. I was also deciding if it should be kind of event coverage or just informational about what it was. So that's why I think it was that's where I was kind of struggling. And when you say change the direction, I'm wondering which one you would have chosen in that circumstance.
I mean, I think the question is what does this mean for me, as a viewer? And he was kind of getting there with that. I would always, what does it mean for me? What's happening and what does that mean for me? So you could do both, but I think with a story that is quite dry, approach it from what is my audience going to take away from this? What is useful to them?
Okay.
Why do I need to go out and vote if I'm in this situation?
Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, Derek. I felt the sales tax story as well. That was a hard one. You had a good character, you know, the professor, I forget his name, but he was very flamboyant and gave some good information. Again, I think maybe you could have made this a bit shorter. It was quite a hard story to kind of get through. And I think, you know, coming off the script again, you did the sort of intro off the top, just get off the script, try and be more conversational, and I think that will make the whole story flow.
Yes, thank you for those comments. I guess my thing with getting off script for the second part following the video package, I guess there are just so many like names and titles that I wanted to make sure to get right. So I guess just like more pre-prep, reading the script over, just getting ready to make sure that I get those names right and I don't have to look down and double check while we're live, I think will help in that process.
And you've got to get those facts, and you never want to get the facts wrong. So it is that balance between maybe do you need as many facts? You know, what is the trade-off? If you give a lot of information, you're going to be wedded to the script, and then it might be harder to digest. Maybe you pinpoint the kind of, you know, 2 or 3 things that you really want to get across, and like, you know, pull yourself away from the script and focus on that. But look, it's not easy to do, and I think it will, I'm trying to think of ways of advice to just help you all kind of free yourselves up a little bit from it, because I think that, you know, understandably you're kind of honing in on what it is that you're kind of looking at on the script, but just like pulling yourself away from that a bit. But it is a challenge, and you'll have to give something up to do that.
Yeah, I really like what you said there about just like trying to narrow down on the facts, and I think that's definitely something that I'll consider looking forward now.
Yeah, I mean, how I always see it is like if you're having a conversation with somebody and like they literally just bombard you with information. I'm not saying you were doing that, by the way, but like if you have a conversation with it and it's just like a flow of information, at some point you're like, stop, I can't. And therefore, if you think about everything as a conversation, you know, what would you tell your parents about this? You know, how would you kind of, you know, tell your roommate about this story? Like, what would the sort of really prescient points be? And like boil it down to that, and then that will help.
Sounds great.
Okay, the airport shooting. I thought this was a bit of a missed opportunity, actually. I think I think there was a lot that we could have done, or you could have done, in terms of talking points here. Like, as somebody who travels a lot and uses the airport a lot, like, you know, what are the questions that people are asking now? Obviously, there's the actual case, and there's only so much you can say about the actual case. But would it have been an opportunity to talk to some security expert about what is the process when you go into an airport? Like, you know, at what point do the security checks really kind of kick in? Again, that might have been hard to have done sort of journalistically, so I don't know whether you tried that and maybe it was difficult to get to because this was a kind of open case. But I think in terms of news you can use and stories that are really relevant to people in the area, there's a lot of questions to be asked about that. So it felt like more than a kind of quick tell. I think you could have gone into that in a little bit, done a little bit more with that story. Anybody have
Abby,
anything to that?
do you have any? Yeah, that was about the TSA, right? The airport TSA delays.
She's talking about the shooting updates. That was the guy who tried to bring a gun.
Oh, I can't hear.
Were you talking about the TSA and the delays at the airport, or were you talking
No,
about...
I was talking about the guy whose family called. You did the guy.
Yeah.
The guy
We did that as breaking news on Monday, and today there was an update about the federal charges. So we just did a reader on that.
Oh, okay. So you did more about it yesterday, and today there was an update. So did you do more on what I was suggesting on Monday on that?
We got it like a few hours before air, so it was really breaking, and we didn't have any visuals or anything. We managed to open our show with an explainer of what we knew so far, and on Tuesdays we do not have shows. We only have shows twice a week. The class is Mondays and Wednesdays. So today we decided to update it because the federal charges were revealed today. So that was the news today, and we put some context. But we definitely...
I mean, look, it's fine. It was fine. I just think, you know, I kind of I think there was, you could have done more with it, but equally you could just, it was, an update was fine.
But thank you for letting us know how we could have done more on it. Yeah, exactly.
I think sometimes, we have this with our shows where sometimes people kind of feel like they can't do a second day on something. It happened one day, can you revisit it? No, it feels old. I think some stories, you can come back to, and if people are still talking about it, then you can still talk about it.
Yeah, especially when it has to do with airports and security. Everybody wants to know more about that. Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for telling us how we could have done it.
No, so then the shutdown. Abby, I think you did a really good job. I think you felt very conversational, and this did not feel scripted, and it very much felt like kind of news I could use. Download the MyTSA app. You clearly had the graphic that you were in front of you. You kind of tried to move across, which was the good move because that was some good information there. But I think that felt very relaxed and like engaging, and I kind of really stuck with you. And I think Rebecca, going back to the presenting, I think when you're asking, again, like get off the script with the questions, like what do you really want to ask her? Like throw those questions away, because again, that just makes the whole thing flow. But I thought that was really nice.
Thank you very much. I'm really glad it sounded conversational and relaxed because I was a little nervous doing it, but I'm glad it came off the opposite.
Yeah, no, I mean, you felt very relaxed. And you gave information, but you didn't, I wasn't kind of overwhelmed.
Good, I'm glad. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Then the pottery piece, Sydney, this was really nice. I really like this. It gave me a kind of, it's always just nice to kind of feel like people are doing positive things. And I think again, you can always, when you're putting these shows together, it's something that we're trying to experiment with a bit at CNN International, is do we always need to put the feel-good pieces towards the end of the show, or does the audience actually kind of need that higher up? I mean, again, I'm not saying it was placed in the wrong place, but it's something to think about. Could that have helped maybe with the transition between some of the kind of harder pieces higher up to have maybe moved something up the rundown to kind of give people a little breath of fresh air? But I thought it was really nice. Good characters, nice pictures, nice tracking. It was a good piece. I really enjoyed watching that.
Thank you so much.
And same with the I Serve Ministries. That was really good too. Similar vein. Good characters, good pictures. It was just a good positive vibe story. So nice to have there.
And Mira, that was our digital. Excuse me, Mickey, who did that story, was our digital digital MMJ. Sorry, I had a coughing spell. But she was our digital MMJ, and we decided to use her on broadcast. Did it seem odd to you that it was vertical, or was it all right? That was all right.
Do not worry about vertical on TV. Again, something that we're trying to kind of change. It's like everybody, I think people aren't kind of freaked out, oh my goodness, they're playing vertical video. I mean, everybody's on vertical video. I think we should be not too squeamish about that. It worked nicely, it's a strong picture. And I actually also think there should be more kind of cross-pollination of digital linear in any case. Just, I mean, again, this is something that we're looking at. I'm not saying that it's not really a criticism of what you're doing, but I think it works, and I think the audience gets it.
Wonderful, yeah, because we're trying to experiment a little bit and marry the two together, digital and TV. So that's good to know.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Sorry, I didn't write the name down of the woman who did the weather.
Sophia.
So this was really nice as well. I mean, I think again, just you can come off the script more. That would be my one kind of point that I will re-emphasize. But I really liked where you took it. Initially when you popped up, I thought, okay, it's weather. We're going to just find out what the temperature is. But I really liked the kind of drought thought. You just gave me something extra that I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting you to go down that route. And it was a good additional kind of value-added moment to what might have just become a sort of standard weather hit. So I thought that was really nice. But again, get off the script. Like, I felt like you actually wanted to at one point. You tried to, and then you kind of pulled yourself back. So do more of the off script. It was really nice with good content and a nice tease to the volleyball. I thought that was good as well.
Yes, thank you. I was almost like forced to get off script because the wrong video played at the wrong point. I was like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to ad lib the whole time, but now I really need to ad lib, and then I couldn't pull the thoughts together fast enough. But I would really like to work on that ad libbing more and getting off script. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think give yourself, for everybody, give yourself some prompts. When are you going to read the script? When do you need to read the script because there's a lot of information there? And then when can you just detour a bit? And I think it's the same for the presenting, the reporting, everything. Just it can help you think, okay, here I want to kind of take a detour and I can step back a bit, because obviously you have to read the script at some point. I mean, you can't just if you memorize it, it will be even worse than reading off the script. So, think about some tools that can get you there. Who did sport? I'm sorry,
Zach.
I don't know what.
Zach.
Sorry?
Zach.
Zach.
Yeah.
Very nice. Lots of information, good stories, good visuals. Again, just a lot of information, and just try to kind of relax into it a bit more. But it's the same feedback that I'd give to everybody, really, but I thought it was good.
Thank you very much.
Was it Lauren who did the childhood literacy piece?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I really like this. You did what, I was mentioning at the top, where you kind of went into the space, and I felt like I was there with the kids. The grandmother was a great character. She made me laugh a couple of times. And the kid, nice to see the kid. You had really good pictures. It was a good story. You had some good statistics. It was very relatable, and, the right amount of time. It didn't feel too long. So yeah, that was where I ended. Am I missing anything?
No, I think you got it all. Yeah.
Okay, but it was really good. I mean, it was really good. I think these are kind of just things to work on for the next time, and they're minor things that will just, I think, you're on social media and doing TikToks, etc. I think just bringing some of that spontaneity and authenticity into this is really what you need to do, and then it will really kind of freshen everything up to where you want it to be.
Wonderful. That was just great advice, and I can't thank you enough, Mira. Do you have a few more moments for some questions?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in no rush.
Okay. Any questions, guys?
Hi, I'm Michaela. I did the I Serve Ministries story. And my question was, when you kind of go and you have a story that's a little bit one-sided, how do you make sure that maybe you're still, I guess, not having kind of a PR piece?
Yeah, no, that is a good point. Are you thinking that you did that in your piece?
I hope I did not.
No, I didn't either. So it's I don't think you did that. I'm trying to think of an example, but yeah, you have to. I think some of it is attribution, their claims, they say, really kind of making it clear that it's their message and you're not taking on those kind of statements as a reporter. And I think it really depends on the story, but I think getting additional voices in, getting additional viewpoints in, getting different sources to back up the facts that they're giving you or to counter them. But, sometimes the story is, if you're doing a story about, the pottery story was not a PR thing, but, clearly that was a story about an organisation that's doing great things for people. So I can't think there, what would you have done? Maybe it's really difficult to, story by story, to kind of think about that. But I think if you clearly are being sort of hit up by an organisation to kind of give a positive spin piece, then you just have to really attribute, fact check, and find alternative viewpoints. Sometimes stories are just feel-good stories. That's also fine.
Thank you.
And Sydney has a question for you.
Hi, Sydney.
Hi, I'm Sydney.
I know that a lot of us are working on our reels as we're beginning to apply to jobs. And I know that for Grady Newsource, it can be kind of hard to get like that hard news, like those hard news stand-ups that news directors are looking for. So kind of what would you recommend as a workaround if you're not getting a lot of hard news for your stand-ups? Like how can you still stand out when you're applying for jobs?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be looking for that. I mean, I would look for that reporting. So, you know, it doesn't need to be a stand-up. It could be a piece that you've done. Or what I want to see in a stand-up is the personality and a relaxed approach to kind of presenting your story. So honestly, more important than like, you know, what the story is like how you're delivering it in a way that I feel like you're engaging me. Like that is the number one priority. Like you could be saying words that are very, very kind of, you know, this is a very serious, important news story, but if I'm not engaging with you, then it's not as valuable as a story that is kind of light and fun where you are engaging me.
Thank you, that does help, because I know a lot of news directors will say, like, start with your breaking news, but like,
I mean, the breaking news is good. If you can show you can do breaking news, that is a good thing, but again, like, it's more about how you deliver it than what you're covering. Like if you're doing breaking news and, you know, if you're in a breaking news situation and you're kind of able to sort of demonstrate what's happening around you, and if there's a way that you can walk and say, you know, over here, this is happening, and get your camera, you know, get the camera work to kind of make you feel like you're immersed in the situation, that's the advice I would give. Like, rather than just standing up saying this is breaking news. Like always think about whatever story you're telling, how you engage in the audience with it.
Thank you.
And Mira, how long should a reel be, and what should it contain? What do you like to see in a reel?
I mean, I get you get a feeling pretty quickly. I mean, it should be like give people 10 minutes, but honestly, you kind of grab somebody in the first 3 or 4 minutes, I would say. 3 minutes even.
Yeah. And you want like stand-ups and a possible package or two?
Yeah, I probably want stand-ups. You don't need to necessarily run full packages. It's like kind of I would like strong stand-ups where you can really sort of see your personality, and then maybe like shorter clips of the kind of stories that you've worked on, so that you could just see, okay, they've done this, and this, but go bigger on your on-air component, and just really the other stories you kind of want to show some clips of, and then maybe, you know, you show them in full at the end if people then want to come back and watch the whole thing. But like really focus on that, you know, that this person's, I've got to sell myself in 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's good to know. So 3 minutes, make it count. Yeah. One last question. Anybody has a question? Yeah, can you grab a mic? Jordan has a question for you.
Okay.
I'm Jordan. I got floated, so you didn't see me. But
don't worry. It'll be on tomorrow, right? Or next time.
That's right. I guess I'm kind of wondering, so like when you're looking for reporters, what are some of the things that you want to see that you're like, I like that person, that's who I want to hire?
Do they make me, am I listening without trying to listen? Am I just naturally engaged with what they're saying? Is it, you know, did they make me smile? Did what they say make me feel sad? You know, did I feel something? Again, it's like, that's why this whole try and come off the script and just as if you were telling the story to somebody who you know and like, and you want them to care about what it is that you're saying. And if I feel that, then I'm in.
So passion?
Yeah, passion, authenticity, energy, but not like in a way that is just like sort of manufactured. You know, just natural, as if you're having a conversation with me.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Well, I can't thank you enough, Mira. This was great. You managed to give us so many tips on how to report, on how to even stand out in interviews. I really, really appreciate the time you gave us.
Oh, it was great. I really enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful, and see you all again soon, I hope.
We hope it. Would love to.
All right, thank you.